This is Thomas with Believe and Run.
This is Megan with Believe and Run.
And today we're talking about the Nike
Vaporfly Next Percent 2.
How can you have a next 2? I guess.
It's the next.
Yeah, it's the next. 2 next. Up next.
Next.
Up next. Nike Next Percent. How about that? Does that work?
Okay.
All right, that does it. I don't think we've ever been as excited about a shoe as much as we were about this one when it came out. The hype, the excitement with Eliud Kipchoge going after a sub-2 marathon. I mean, everything about it seemed magical, and the shoe delivered on the feeling.
A version of this shoe outside of the Alphafly recently was what I wore for every single one of my races, whether it was a 5K, half marathon, or marathon.
But do you remember when you first slipped this one on?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Different than anything else that was out there. It was lightweight, it was cushioned, had the plate to pop. All of a sudden, holding faster paces seemed a little bit easier. Your legs felt better, you recovered faster. This shoe certainly changed the game. If you're watching this video, you probably know that this shoe was the king.
People are still wanting to get this, and they started with a limited release to the Nike Plus members in the all white, and then they added this one in also a limited release, March 25. And I think they're doing a larger release soon, but it's still, they sell out.
Yeah, March 25th, supposedly there's another release coming.
Wait, it's April 20th.
Oh. After the original came out, they just updated it with a knit upper, kind of gave it more of a sock-like feel. Still, there's always been a little bit of an issue with the upper. We're gonna see if it gets fixed when we get up to here on this one. This one was I felt like a nice addition. The only problem was when this got wet, I felt like the knit held in more moisture. You're not always guaranteed sunshine and clear skies on race day, so this one could get kind of soggy in either high humidity.
I also didn't love this upper. In fact, when we had both of these versions to choose from on race day, I opted for this one simply because there was no stability around the ankle here, and if you were trying to run fast around corners, it was not ideal.
So the next update of the shoe was actually a large update, changing the shape of the foam on the midsole, changing some of the layout, giving it more rubber grooves on the bottom for traction. You had just a different feeling, and it actually surprisingly was a really nice update. I would have been afraid to mess with the original just because of how popular it was, but this did do a nice job. And what did you find this shoe's improvement over the old ones?
I thought the upper was a huge improvement. It was a little bit more forgiving in the toe box for a little bit more room, and then also a little bit extra support around the ankle.
Yeah, this is the first time you saw the offset lacing on this, so it doesn't go right over the top of the foot, it goes to the side, relieving some of the pressure on the foot. Still, the fit of the ankle in this area is questionable.
Yeah.
At best. But one thing I did do was I soaked these both in water to simulate kind of like a rain situation, weighed them both after. This one gained about 2 to 3 ounces, where this one stayed only about a ½ ounce heavier. So the vapor weave was light, it didn't hold water, did a really nice job as far as not taking away from the ride. It just was there.
And so now we have the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, which is by far my favorite colorway.
Color wins, yes. But did we fix the upper? What did we do?
So the upper is definitely better for my foot shape. I felt like the midfoot and toe box was much more accommodating, whereas all the previous versions, I was sort of like squeezing my toes in there. Even though the platform didn't really get much wider, the stretch and the volume of this upper is way more accommodating.
Even though there's a lot more material here for her foot, my foot being narrow and low volume, it doesn't really bother me while I'm running. While I'm standing around and just there, the shoe kind of looks a little baggy on my foot. I get the lockdown with the laces, it's fine. My heel counter stays in fine, but like if you're looking for a streamlined sock-like fit, it's not that.
So one thing they did was add a little bit of, they're calling it pocket padding to the tongue. And that was sort of to help for when you're cinching down those laces real tight, you're not cutting off the circulation. I didn't feel like it worked. I still had to cinch down my laces quite a bit because you just don't get a lockdown foot or feel here around the ankle, and it still feels pretty harsh on the top of my foot.
See, and I didn't have a problem with it. It felt fine. What I did notice though is this new mesh on the top is way more opened up. Definitely feel more air on the foot. As a matter of fact, one of the days where I took this out, it was cold in the morning and I was like, it was the first time in a long time that like my foot felt cold in a running shoe. And I mean, it was brief. As soon as I warmed up, it was gone. And that's the thing, once this is moving, it has that Vaporfly magic. So no longer was I worried about how the upper fit or looked or everything. It just locked in and it really becomes, I feel like almost like one with my foot, and I just feel that nice light cushion, bounce and spring. And a fresh pair of these, I don't know there's much that can beat the feeling of a fresh pair of Vaporflies.
Yeah. As much as I'm complaining about the sort of not perfect fit here around the ankle and collar, the midsole, outsole has been unchanged, and it's still one of the best combinations out there.
Now the exciting thing is where this was the only shoe that most people were like, I gotta have that on race day because it just felt a little bit different. The weight to, you know, bounce and energy return ratio was insane. I think it's still in the 7s. We'll weigh it here in a second. The overall makeup of the shoe hadn't been beat. And I don't know that it's been beat yet, but I do feel like we do have some contenders to it now and people that are really close. Probably my favorite and closest shoe to this for me is the Asics Metaspeed Sky. It has a very similar feeling in the footsteps, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would have to agree. You know, slight differences here, but honestly, if you're just making a comparison of like equal bounce, and you're still getting a pretty good ride from the Asics.
Yeah. I might give the Asics the advantage on the upper.
Yes.
I don't know, the grip on the bottom of the Asics is really nice. So that's pretty much, for me, the closest competitor and the two shoes I'd want to compare to each other. I don't know if the Asics is going to be more available, so people will have that option, but if you are in a situation where you can't get your Vaporfly fix and you want to try something else, definitely get the Metaspeed Sky on your feet. Why don't we go into some of the weights, Meg? So Meg, for your size 7.5,
this shoe comes in at 5.57 ounces or 158 grams. So really, really light.
Yeah, and honestly, it's the same shoe that's unisex, so it's pretty much, if you're a man with a tiny baby foot, this is also
size
what you get.
5 men's.
Yeah, and I'll start with my, mine's a size 10.5, 209 grams, 7.37 ounces. Just to give you an idea, Metaspeed Sky, 7.4.
Basically the exact same.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. Yeah, I mean, within hairs of each other, and that could just be manufacturing between the two. Who knows, they could slide back and forth. What you're looking at here is Old Faithful, trusted. You're gonna do it. We're gonna see Eliud Kipchoge just ran in the Netherlands, went back to the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. I'm not sure if that says that he prefers that over the Alphafly or this.
I feel like it does.
It does it because I feel like closed track going for a world record, he went Alphafly and he broke 2 hours.
True.
Runs a 2:04 in these, but it's, you know, different conditions. So I don't know if he's picking based on the course or if it's just personal preference and he's like, I feel it's faster. I will tell you, when you put one of these back on after having all these different ones, I get nostalgic when I put this on. It feels good. It immediately puts a smile on my face. I just love running in this shoe.
Yeah, we've been testing out a lot of different plated shoes over the past month or so, and it did feel like putting this one back on, you're reminded that this really is the OG, and it hasn't lost its charm.
Like there's a reason why this has been at the top so long. And honestly, even though there's people catching up, nobody's surpassed it yet. What is it about the Alphafly that you like over the Vaporfly?
So I think I was leaning towards the Alphafly because of the air pockets and the fact that you never lose, like you are constantly getting that pop back from the combination of the plate and the air pods. Whereas maybe this one dies a little bit when you're like late in those marathon miles. But if we're talking half marathon and down, I might
Switch it up?
switch to this one.
I find what Megan's talking about, the immediate feel when you put it on, you really feel that bounce and you feel that pop from the plate. I feel like later in the miles, when you're grinding it out, it does start to just feel like a normal running shoe. Like you're not feeling that huge pop off, and that's where the Alphafly comes in. You never not feeling that.
You always feel.
You always feel the Alphafly AirPods underneath the forefoot. It always gives you that little bit of pop. I've actually had to switch it out because I feel like it was putting too much strain on my hamstring because I was getting too much bounce off the front, and I midfoot to forefoot strike anyway, so I'm getting a lot of play up there. You know, it's really gonna come down to personal preference. I don't think there's like a, hey, Alphafly is not as good as the Vaporfly or vice versa. It'll be interesting to see how the shoes evolve, whether the Alphafly will stick around, whether they'll just keep updating the Vaporfly. I don't know, what do you think, Meg?
I hope they keep making awesome shoes.
There you go. Keep making awesome, I can't even say it. Keep making awesome shoes, Nike.
The gist of it, for those of you that wanna know the updates, not a whole lot. You've got a nice new breathable mesh upper. You've got a little extra padding on the tongue, a little extra padding through the collar here.
A little more room in the forefoot.
A little more room in the forefoot, which is lovely for us wide-footed people. Otherwise, the midsole, outsole is unchanged and it's still awesome, so.
One other thing they did do is they added some reinforcements around the toe to try to make the shoe a little more durable. I don't know that anybody was wearing out the upper of their Vaporflies before they were wearing out the midsole, so I don't know what the durability issue was. Normally when you see this shoe, and you have to understand, yes, it's expensive. It's $225 now, down from $250, so they've actually lowered the price, but you're not gonna get the durability out of this shoe that you get out of a normal trainer. So when you see people that maybe aren't aware that this is specifically for race day or specifically for your speed workouts, the Zoom X is not a durable material. It's going to shred. The little bit of rubber here that you can barely see because it's the same color as a shoe, it's not gonna do too much. I've seen people peel it right off. This is not your durable trainer. This is a shoe that has a specific purpose for a specific day. You shouldn't be doing all your miles in it.
That said, I get like 300 plus miles out of mine, so.
Well, I think, you know, if you could run it, like say that you had an endless supply of Vaporflies, Megan would probably run in Vaporfly every day.
No.
You don't think so?
You gotta have those easy days, those recovery days. I love my cushion shoes without the plate.
Let's get you an endless supply and see what happens. For most people, this is a special day shoe. This is a day where you wanna hit your paces, maybe go a little bit further, a little bit longer, a little bit faster. It's not for your daily training. Even if you're a slower paced runner and you're not doing it, and I'm saying all the way up to 4 hours, the shoe still has benefits because of the cushioning, because of the light weight. It's easier on your legs. It's gonna actually do more for the slower runner than it's gonna do for the fast runner. Meg, to take off another minute or so, it's gonna have to work really hard. If you're running 3:45 and you wanna drop down to that 3:30, take 15 minutes off your marathon PR, one of these shoes can help you. If you've been running in, say, Brooks Glycerin, and then you switch to this for race day,
delight.
you might get 15 minutes off your, because it's actually the next percent that they're talking about is compared, originally it was compared to the Nike Streak, which was this shoe. And you can see the difference in the heel of this shoe. Didn't have a carbon plate, it had a plastic TPU plate in it. This was the next percent to this. And we're talking about on Kipchoge's feet, what a percent equals. So really 15 minutes for an amateur going from a cruddy daily trainer. Not that the Glycerin's a cruddy daily trainer, before I get comments in the thing. If you're trained the same and the conditions were the same and you put this shoe on, you're gonna do really well.
I think so. Yeah. And when you get that 15-minute PR in the marathon, you let us know.
If you can get this shoe, good luck. Happy hunting. Do you like this color a lot?
I'm obsessed with this color.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. And you know what? Maybe we got to cover all the places people should follow us. But before we get there, why are you wearing a grit shirt?
All right, people, it's that time. Summer is coming.
Can they even see your shirt because you're so tiny?
Yeah.
Come in.
Which
There it
means
is.
grit is coming. It's
Yeah.
coming back. It's gonna be the month of July. We'll have all the details out soon, but get excited.
Yeah. Prizes, all that stuff. Last year, we were able to donate $20,000 to charity through Grit, so that was awesome. And we gave out a ton of prizes. And this year, we're changing it a little bit, so it'll be a little more exciting for people. We're gonna have levels instead of distances, and you're gonna find out about that. We'll get into it later, but mark your calendar.
Asics and Polar are back in, so you're getting sweet prizes from them.
And maybe some other stuff, so
Yeah.
we're gonna surprise you. Other than that, make sure that you are following us on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook groups, Strava groups. Check out our podcast.
Yeah, the Drop
Drop.
podcast out every Friday.
Yeah.
It's a good time. We chat about life. We chat to cool athletes,
Yeah,
people in the industry.
This week we have former Nike athlete Charlotte Purdue, who's now with Adidas.
Adidas.
Yeah, I gotta say that. And then also make sure you subscribe and like this video. Anything else that we should do, like normally Robbie and I do something fun, like we go on a spaceship sometimes.
Oh.
We do
I
magic
wasn't invited
trick.
on that trip.
I know. It was a guy's trip.
To space?
We did to space. We did wizard tricks. Anything that you like to do?
I don't have a lot of tricks.
You don't have any tricks? What about hobbies?
So like running.
Running. All right.
And the next percent.
How about this? Just say hi to your mom.
Hi, Mom.
All right. That's it. Peace.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Hold on. Again, right?
You forget your name.
Yeah, I did. It's Thomas, right?
That's it.
All right.
TH.
I got this. I got this.
Big day. It's a big day.
Yeah.